All right. Should we wrap this shit up?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Did a demon just come out of you? Who the fuck was that?
Now you're gonna do the whole like and
That's Zach.
subscribe in that voice.
Don't forget to like.
Oh, God.
Going off the rails.
Hi, welcome back to Discovering Divergency, a podcast where we talk about our journeys with late diagnosis. I'm Crystal, your ADHD OT.
I'm Amanda, your ASD side D.
I'm Sydney, your optimistic autistic.
And today we're going to be talking about social situations regarding friendships and our experiences with that. But before we get into that, I was wondering if you guys have any sticky thoughts, things that stuck with you from last episode, or recent discoveries.
I think what's sticking with me about that is that there's like so many moments that you don't realize that have a lot of transitions. Like, this is stuff we might talk about in another podcast episode, but like I notice even with just like expectations about different ways of interacting with my spouse and like things changing rapidly with that. Like if I'm even expecting us to kiss a certain way or interact a certain way and then it changes, like I found that can be overwhelming. So that's something we didn't touch on too much last week, but it's something I've noticed in my life in the last kind of week or so.
Yeah, and I brought it up in therapy this week, or I guess last week.
Oh, nice.
Because I realized, because I talked to you guys, that I have difficulty like getting out of bed and taking a shower, getting out of the shower and doing my hair and getting dressed, all that stuff. And we were kind of discussing if it's even worth working on, because we talked about it. And then at the end of our conversation, she was like, is it a problem? Or do you just like don't want to like lay in bed for an hour? I'm like, it's really not a problem. If I need to get out of bed, I will. I just don't really want to on the days that I don't have to. And she had recommended that if I did want to work on, for example, getting out of bed and not like just laying in bed for an hour when I wake up, that I say, okay, today I sat in bed for an hour. I'll try 50 minutes. And then next week I'll try 40 minutes and then I'll just decrease the time. But we kind of decided like, it's not that big of a deal. And when I need to get out of bed, I will just get out of bed. Like if I need to get up at 7, but I usually get up at 8, I'll just get up at 7 and it's not a big deal if I need to be somewhere. So I really don't think it's that as detrimental as I thought it was. But it was interesting to talk about it for the first time in therapy because I had never had that conversation with anyone before.
I think that's like a really great example of a neuroaffirming therapist, one, and also like just that acceptance, because it was a problem because you thought it was a problem, right?
Right.
You were like feeling shame that you were doing it, and now you're just like, oh, I just do it. Like it's not actually affecting my like it's not affecting my functioning. It's not that I'm late to work. It's just like, this is who I am and I need that hour and that's okay.
Exactly.
I think that's
yeah.
awesome.
And part of it is has nothing to do with being autistic. It's just that like I have really dry eyes. My routine is like the first thing I do when I get out of bed after I go to the bathroom is like I wash my hands and I put my contacts in. I can't like do other things before I do that. I don't like to put my glasses on in the morning. So but I can't just get out of bed and put my contacts in. My eyes are not ready for that. Like they're too dry. So if I put them in too soon, it's painful. So part of me laying there is adjusting my eyes. And when I try to skip that step, my eyes always hurt because I put my contacts in too soon. So you're right. Like she was like, you don't need to adjust this if it's actually, has a purpose or is helping you or there's nothing wrong with it. And I went in with one expectation of like never talking about this thing in therapy before. I'm like, I had a breakthrough with my friends. I'm going to go talk about it in therapy. And then I left therapy with this other breakthrough of just like totally accepting that I am this way. It was really interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think too, like my quick tidbit that I'll add to that is like something that I know about in my own kind of like therapy work is there's this idea and some stuff of like, is it workable? And like what that basically means is like, there is ideas about certain presentations or certain symptoms of like, oh, you have to fix this, but the way that I kind of approach things, and a way in an approach is like, is this working for your life? If it is, then like, why should we change it? And I think that's a good thing with kind of trying to explore a lot of this neurodiversity in general, is like, there might be ideas of how we should behave or how we should act. And I think it comes down to like, does this work in your life? Okay, then it's fine. If it doesn't work, then that's maybe stuff to like figure out. But if it's not causing problems, it's not necessarily something that needs to change.
Yeah, we talked about the food episode too. Like Crystal had said, if you're not eating certain things is restrictive in a bad way, then yes, something to look at. But if it's not affecting you in a bad way and it's just like a preference and it doesn't affect your nutrition or something like that, like, what's the harm? Just let it happen.
Acceptance. I think for me, I resonated with Amanda talking about like the anger when dealing with transitions. Like, I kind of forgot that I feel like that, and then like that night was trying to do something, and like my partner kept asking me to do other things, and like he didn't know I was trying to do something else, but I had a whole plan, and I was just like, no, I'm trying to create an email. And then he was like, whoa, like, I just asked if you wanted to brush teeth, like, I don't know what this is. And I was like, oh, I had a plan. And maybe a British accent on that word for some reason. And then also today I again had a plan, was like setting things up, and like my boyfriend wanted a kiss, and I was just like,
how dare.
Yeah, I was like, small bids for attention are important for relationships, so I need to stop what I'm doing and give you a kiss. But then you tried to and so I did, and then he tried to hug, and I was like, no, I'm doing things. I stopped for a quick kiss. Like, enough.
Right.
Don't push your luck, buddy.
Enough.
No, but I totally relate to that. And that's why I think like maybe another week we talk about like relationships and intimacy and those kind of things. Cause like it is hard when you're like, no, I had this plan. But then you're also like, well, my partner loves me and I have to adapt the plan. But also I adapted enough. Now stop.
How much do you want? And you don't know what's going on in my head because it's all
Right.
in my head.
Right. I haven't told you the 10-step plan, but how dare you not know the 10-step plan?
I think that's a good transition to our topic for today. So we all kind of had some social things going on this weekend, and so wanted to talk about like some of the expectations maybe that we feel being at these social events, how that has looked like pre and post diagnosis or discovery, and yeah, just how it is having friends.
So I guess to kind of start us out a little bit, I guess maybe Crystal, like what is the event that you went to this weekend, and like what is some things that were kind of going on for you?
So I think I actually had kind of two very different friendship things happening this weekend, and I think like I can make really good comparisons, which is nice. On Saturday, I hung out with my old roommate, who's now one of my best friends, and another friend and my partner. So that was like a more of a normal thing for like normal hang. And then on Sunday, we attended a baby shower, which was a co-ed baby shower, which I am very grateful for because I could have my partner with me. So it was definitely like way easier than a lot of other baby showers that I have attended because I am often solo. Like, it's really hard when you have a friend that has a baby, especially if you're not like friends with a lot of their other friends, or like it's their like being at those events alone can feel really like a lot of pressure. How about you, Amanda? What'd you do?
I had a bridal shower this weekend. I had other stuff related to family, but that was like the main social events. And I get what you're saying, that like it's hard to go to things when you don't know anyone else, because that was my experience this weekend. Like, I vaguely had seen some of the people there before, but I ended up also unfortunately coming late, which is a whole different story. But I got there and kind of sat at a table with no one I knew, no one that I really like had any context for, and It's not my favorite thing. I think I definitely adapt to it a little differently now and have different expectations of myself in those settings, but it's definitely not my ideal kind of setting to be in.
I've never been to a baby shower.
Really?
Yeah, and the only bridal shower I've been
That
to
makes sense.
was mine.
I have a huge family, so I have been going to baby and bridal showers since I was like 5, I feel like.
Wow.
Like there's always a cousin or something getting married or having a baby. So like I think it's more normal of like most of the time you're starting to go to baby and bridal showers like when you're around our age.
Yeah.
But I've had too much experience with them.
Wow. No, and like my first wedding was the wedding I went to last June, and then Amanda, your wedding was the second wedding I went to ever.
Oh wow.
Was I? Yes, and then yes, in the order. I went to like 5 weddings last year, and I had.
It was a rough year last year for weddings.
If we were doing this podcast last year, it would have been a very different podcast. I would have had a lot different things to say, because last year was just only social events.
But I think there's when you're like, especially at these events that even if you do have one other person, right? But you're at these like organized events that are for a reason, like a wedding, like a shower, like a baby, whatever. I don't know about you guys. There feels like so much pressure to perform and to put on these like to have conversations with people who you will never see again, or you'll like see them at the wedding, like, and it takes a lot to have a conversation for me. And like, not to be like, this is not to be rude, I'm sure you're a nice person, but like I don't really give a and like I don't want to spend my energy having that conversation. Sometimes I do, sometimes I like to, but
I think that's like the difference is like usually in the day-to-day, if people like small talk, they can engage in it, or if they don't like small talk, they can kind of disengage from it. But I feel like when you're at these like showers or different kind of events, the expectation is you're gonna have that small talk. And especially, I don't know what your experience has been with it, Crystal, I find that a lot of the showery type events I go to usually have some game where you're expected to talk to people. It's usually the like, don't say baby game, or the don't say bride game, where you're supposed to somehow have small talk with these other people and accidentally have this weird gotcha moment. And like, I get the idea about it. Like, yes, it's cute and it's fun, but like it, as someone who's like autistic and navigating these things, like I already feel weird having conversations with people I don't know, let alone having this weird thing of like, hee now I'm trying to catch you in some weird way that you said this thing that you're not supposed to say.
I know, I feel like those games are like, the intention is to make those things less awkward,
right?
And
they're icebreakers.
It's like find people like I hate the one that's like find people who fill these categories, like find somebody whose birthday is in July, find somebody who drives a blue car or whatever, because I really want to win, and but I don't really want to go talk to people. So like I have a love-hate with the games, because I do think it gives people who don't know anybody something to do. But then if it's making me talk to people, I'm like, ugh. Like this one, so it was my partner's first baby shower. So like I tried to give him like the lowdown of what to expect at a baby shower. And it was like the chillest baby shower actually I've probably ever been to. It was not like, we didn't sit and watch her open gifts, and like there were games, but they were like at a table and you could go and do them if you wanted to. And like there was no announcement of like who won or anything. It just, I don't even know what happened, but I was like it was very chill in that sense. It was cute. I was like, write a message on a diaper for like the middle of the night.
Oh,
when they
funny.
like late night diaper changes.
That's so funny.
That's cute. You know, I love a craft. And it was like, you know, guess the candy in a bottle. So I was like sitting there pretending to do math. Like I always try really hard. I do this like weird calculation. I'm never right at these things, but I try really hard. That was a tangent about baby shower games, but I can see the sentiment of like, it's just, it's not for us. Maybe other people like them.
Right. And I think that really hits it of like, I I get it, and I do, and like it goes back to, I think, a lot of like social rules, and that like there's social rules that are covert, like hidden, and social rules that are overt, like very clear. And I feel like a lot of times the showers are like a combination of both, of like navigating these social rules. And like you even said, you gave Zach the lowdown of what is a baby shower, what are the expectations, because they are likely going to have these like similar rules and similar social ideas of like how you're supposed to behave at these things.
Yeah, like it is rude to interrupt a conversation of strangers.
Yeah.
If you're not supposed to do that. But at this you could. Like, how else do you have, like, it's not that weird to interject into the people, like, you're sitting with these 10 people, like, but then how do you do it? I always feel so awkward of just like, oh yeah, I read that book too, let's talk about it. Like, I don't know, like, right. At your wedding, I have no idea what I said. I never have a good transition into like saying hello, but I wish I remembered what awkward statement I said to your friend Thaddeus, but I was just like, let's talk. You're next to me. Okay. And like, he was a great conversation. Like, I could talk to him all night. Check out his podcast, Happy Media.
Yeah. Guys, this might be the way that I told Thaddeus that I found this podcast.
You live really close to me and I want to be friends. You had a great time at Amanda's wedding.
Now I'm totally gonna have to send this to him. But
That's
anyway,
how I become friends with Thaddeus, because I don't know how to make friends. But yeah, it's like there are pros and cons of like, you can meet somebody really cool because chances are they are, you know, they're friends with your friend. Like, chances are you might get along. But it does take extra social energy that like maybe you do or do not have.
I think the issue that I have with meeting people at things like weddings, I mean, I haven't been to showers, but I would imagine showers, birthday parties, one-off social gatherings, you could categorize them as, is that, and I don't mean this to disrespect anyone I've ever met at one of these gatherings, I just mean it from like a very generic standpoint of like, okay, I'm meeting someone I don't know, and maybe I'm interested in what they're saying. But in my head, I'm like an all or nothing kind of friend. And so if I'm investing energy into you, even just to like listen to you for like half hour, 10 minutes or whatever, like if I don't follow up and we don't become friends, it's going to bother me. And then if I know that I'm not going to follow up and become friends, because, you know, there's people you meet at weddings that there's like the random aunt who's like, you're not actually, like there's a 0% chance that you're actually going to talk to them ever again, but they're cool in the moment. But like, I have trouble wanting to spend my limited energy on those people, knowing that it is not going to go anywhere beyond this room. That's where I struggle.
I'm very similar, and I've had to like kind of redefine types of friends, if that makes sense. Like, I am an all or nothing in most things in my life, and then would get really hurt when like a friend couldn't fulfill something.
I agree.
But like, one person can't fulfill everything. And like, I would feel like I'm not friends with somebody if I'm not having all of these like deep conversations or whatever. But like,
yep.
Friendships can fill different roles. Accepting that was really great, because I'm like, these are my Taylor Swift friends. I went to a Taylor Swift dance party by myself, and I met two guys, and we hung out, and we talked after, and I was just like, these are my Taylor Swift friends. Like, I text them only about Taylor Swift. Like, we haven't talked in a while. Like, that kind of fell off, but like, that's okay. Our friendship doesn't need to go any further than that, because I do have such limited social energy and physical energy that like, I can't support that any more deep friendships, but that's okay to have that surface level friendship. I think too, with these things, especially like they're gender normative of like, a lot of them are women. Like, I will like, especially with weddings, right? You got bridal shower, sometimes bachelorette party, wedding. and then maybe baby shower. And like, you will have friends that you only see at those things, or like people, you know, acquaintances, I guess. Right. And like, I have like learned to accept that like that friendship's not going to go any further, but like, it's nice to see them like, you know, every year or whatever it is in relation to that person. Like, I feel that way with a lot of your friends, Amanda. Like, your friends aren't my friends, but I've met them enough that I feel very friendly with them, and I love seeing them when I come to like your events. If you want friends, just be friends with Amanda. She always is surrounded with great people.
I appreciate that.
Agree. Can confirm.
Yeah, not feeling the need to like further that friendship is difficult for sure.
I was thinking about what I had to say, and then I was like, this doesn't have to do with social situations and parties. It more has to do with like levels of friendship. But basically, my therapist told me a while ago, because we were talking about like how not every person can fulfill every part of your life, which is true for like literally everyone, even your romantic partner, and your family. Someone else said this. She told me about it. It's not like, I don't think she made it up. And if she did, I apologize. But she was basically saying like your bathtub friends and your hot tub friends. Like your bathtub friends, you can only fit like 2, maybe 3 people in a bathtub. Maybe.
Crystal hates.
If you're lucky.
There's something going on for Crystal's mind right now.
Sorry, go. I love this.
Like you can only fit like 2 people in a bathtub, let's say. And so those are like your closest people. Those are like your most exclusive people. And you can fit like 6 to 8 people in a hot tub. Those are like your next tier of like, they're there, but they're not like up against you all the time, you know? And then I added to her, or whoever started this theory, this metaphor, pool friends.
Yeah,
I was people who are
100%.
Like, and then there's like the shallow
ocean
end friends,
friends
and the deep end friends. Yeah, and then there's ocean friends. Cause like,
see, I was thinking
like acquaintances and like I see them and I do actually care about them, friends, you know. But like that bigger body of water kind of metaphor. I don't know.
I like that.
But I think that actually relates a lot, because I do like maybe said in a moment you'll talk about your social event from the weekend, because I think me and Crystal are almost talking about that hot tub or pool kind of occasions where like maybe like some of the people are direct family members or people that you're close to, but a lot of it's this collection of folks that like you have very limited interactions with or very surface relationships with. And then I'm curious, Sid, like what you felt like your interactions were like this weekend and like how you would even categorize some of that.
Well, I was at a World Cup viewing party with, they're like pretty much my closest friends where I live. Actually, no, they're not pretty much. They are my closest friends where I live. So in terms of my LA friends, they're my bathtub friends. And so I was very comfortable. And we went to this watch party. I didn't know anyone there. It was at a venue that my friend works at. And it was like a friends and family, like come enjoy our space, like watch the game party. I was suffering from intense period cramps. And the reason I say that is because I was visibly in distress. And I didn't necessarily care what the other people I didn't know, the other people who I didn't know around me, like what they thought of me, because it was very inconsequential. And I wasn't doing anything crazy, but like, you know, I was clearly in pain. But I didn't feel like I had to hide it from my friends. But I can easily see other situations that I have been in and will be in the future with other people, where when I'm in pain or I'm overstimulated or I'm feeling like I'm going to shut down or like I need a break, that is a problem. Like I'm thinking back to when I was in middle school. I mean, amongst the other issues I had in middle school, as I think we all did, I'm specifically thinking about all the bar and bat mitzvahs that I went to. I went to a school and I was from a town where there was a bar bat mitzvah every single weekend, and I was invited to most of them. So I was at one of these events like pretty much every weekend, if not every other. And now looking back, I'm like, okay, I was autistic, and that's a big part of why I struggled at these things. But like the music was so loud, I would hide in the bathroom, but then I would feel shame about doing that. And then I would get shamed by the people around me, like, you should be out on the dance floor dancing with everyone, and why are you hiding? My mom once told me, and I think this was actually a very good piece of advice that I still use, because I said I don't have fun at these things, which was true. I hated going to these things. It was just overstimulation station. It was awful. And she said, you have to be your own maker of fun sometimes, which is good advice. And I do still think about that, and that stuck with me. But I had never been to a wedding till last year, and everyone was like, oh, it's just like a bar mitzvah, but for grown-ups. And I'm like, that sounds terrible.
You're like nightmare fuel.
I don't want to do that. I didn't even want to have a wedding myself. I originally did not want to have a wedding. I did have a wedding, as you both know, you were there, but like I did not want to have a wedding, because then there's the social pressure. Crystal, you were talked about in a different episode that you were getting ready for a sweet 16, and you didn't feel like what you're wearing was right, but really you were just like, not just, but really you were having a meltdown, and you were having sensory discomfort, and you were very dysregulated. Yeah. I felt the same way for all of these. I'm not mad at anyone for not flagging my autism sooner. I don't have regrets. I don't wish the past was changed, but this is one of those like things that I'm like, if I knew I was autistic when I was going to all these bar and bat mitzvahs, I probably would have been a lot happier.
I think it's interesting what you said about like the social obligation, because I think like with a lot of these events through our youth, and especially as we get older, and I think especially as female femme type presenting people, I think there's a lot of expectations of you have to invite these certain people, and these certain people should come, or you should always kind of say yes to these certain things. And I think two things kind of come to mind for me. Like, one, I think a privilege of getting older and making your own choices, and hopefully like owning your own stuff, is figuring out which ones you do and don't want to go to. Like, I think, of course, there's still sometimes social repercussions of like, I think we all often have that family member or those friends of like, if you didn't go to that thing, it's going to be repercussions, and there may be breaks in certain relationships, and sometimes you have to just tough it out and be like, yes, I will go to this random relative certain thing, because I know if I don't, then there's going to be a huge rift in our family and I have to just go. But I think like hopefully there's points where you can kind of decide of what you do or don't want to go to. And then I think the other thing that comes to my mind is like, I feel like as female assigned birth people, like I feel like we're even more expected to go to these things. Like, bridal showers and baby showers are not often events that guys are supposed to go to. And there's this like thing ingrained in it of like, we're even more expected to attend these events than like men are. Like, I don't know if there's really a male equivalent to like a baby shower, bridal shower thing. And I know for myself, like I was really anxious leading up to my wedding, because I was like, I'm supposed to have a bridal shower, and I ended up not having one because I didn't want that expectation. Like, I don't like being the center of attention. I don't want to sit there and open a bunch of gifts in front of people and pretend to have certain reactions, and I don't want to have to go around and schmooze with everyone and socialize with these people that are invited out of obligation. And I think it's really difficult as a female person to figure out how to manage those things. Like, I've talked a million times already to my spouse of like, we're not at the point yet of having children, but I've talked a lot about, am I going to have a baby shower when that comes up? What does that look like? How much, who do I invite? Who I not invite? How do I, and ideally, honestly, there's a lot of people I would not want to invite that I probably will have to invite, because there's that social expectation and they make me uncomfortable and I don't want to talk to them. And I think it's just, as people like that are women that like have to do this in a different way that I don't feel like men have to sit in that space with.
And there's the cultural aspect of it for some people.
Oh yeah.
Like sure. I come from a Jewish culture, and I am very secular, but there's this like deep cultural like, you have to invite this person to your wedding. And it's like, I'm like, I understand it, but then I feel really bad because I feel everything so deeply. And I don't know if that's because I'm an empath or because I'm autistic.
I think a lot of people say they're empaths before they realize they're autistic.
Great.
Just throwing that one out there. Highly sensitive.
Yeah, highly
empathetic,
sensitive. Yep.
You're autistic.
Advertisement for the podcast. If you think you're an empath or you think you're highly sensitive, listen to the podcast and you'll find out you're autistic.
Something that I heard you both say, and that has been a game changer for me, is the word should. And I often will check in and say, is this a should, or do I want to do this? Because especially for me living with a chronic illness, and I think it wouldn't matter if I had a chronic illness or not, being neurodivergent, my hours of function are very small. And the level of, the amount of hours of recovery from events like this is very big. So is this an event a should, or is it a want? Do I want to go this? And I know it's going to cost a lot, not money-wise, physically and emotionally and time to recover, then yeah, I'm going to push through and I'm going to go and I'm going to do it. But if it's a should, I'm not going to. I'm going to be uncomfortable for that 5 minutes it takes to say, no, I'm not going, rather than be uncomfortable for the 2 weeks it's going to take for me to recover from that. And I think Amanda made a good point of it's probably going to rock some boats. And not everybody's going to understand. And for me, that can, I'm at the point where I'm okay, cool. Then I don't want them in my life. But that was really hurtful when it was really good friends or people I thought were really good friends. The more I've done this, none of my actual good friends would ever blink an eye if I couldn't come to something big, or if I couldn't wear a certain thing, or if I couldn't participate, or I needed to take a break. Nobody that I really truly want around me is going to care in a negative way. They're going to care in a positive way. It's hard and it's uncomfortable and it's scary, and the more you do it, the easier it is, but there's still that, you've spent years under this pressure. And, I've had the same, thought with, a future wedding of, I only want the people I want there. And, there are so many obligations of, having people. But then, I don't even talk to you. If you have 200 people in an event, I'm not even going to talk to you. So what do you care? You probably don't want to come. I don't want you there. But if I don't invite you, you're going to be mad. And then if I do invite you and you don't want to come, you're going to come because you're going to think I'm going to be mad that you don't come. But actually, let's just be honest here. You don't want to come. I don't want you there.
But that's the weird underlying social rules. There's always this weird underlying thing that we can't say and we can't name of you're supposed to come, but then also be offended if you're not invited, but also you don't want to be here. There's so many occasions of that. And again, I at least personally feel it's an extra layer as being around female people or being female. There is this constant extra layer of there's some weird social dynamic, but don't say it. Don't say that no one likes the baby shower games or the bridal games. Don't say that you don't actually want certain people at your wedding. That's not allowed. Or don't say certain, it's just constant, don't say these certain things.
Yeah, and I think it's important to also emphasize that everyone can feel stressed by social rules, but the difference for autistic people is the way it affects us. I feel it personally very deeply once I get to the point where I understand a social rule, which is already really hard for me to get there because I don't understand a lot of social rules. Then I'm well, why is it like that? And then I get tied up with but why do we do this? It doesn't make any sense. No one in the room is happy. So why were we doing this? And then it's explained why we do it or whatever. And then I'm but I don't want to do that because then I'm lying. And it's this internal conflict that I think neurotypical people don't feel as deeply as autistic people. And then we use so much energy to get through those situations or to prepare for the situations or to rejuvenate from the situations that other people don't use. And so it takes a lot more energy than like, ugh, I don't want to be here. I don't understand the social rules. Okay, I'll do my best and then I'll leave and then I'll like go take a nap and I'll be fine. It's like, okay, I have to like mentally prepare. I have to figure out who's going to be there. For me, I need to know what food is going to be served. I need to know when it's going to be served. I need to make sure there's a bathroom accessible. I need to make sure I have all my emergency kit items. I need to make sure that my clothes are comfortable. My jewelry isn't bothering me. I'm going to have people there that are my safe people that I can go to. I have a place to retreat to. And like it's just like this whole checklist that a lot of other people maybe run through really quickly in their head because they're like, okay, I need to know where the bathroom is, fine. But like if I don't know where the bathroom is, I'm in distress, like serious emotional distress, because that would be where I would go if I needed to like sit in silence. I would like sit on the toilet for like a little while.
Same.
Spent so much. I'm sure we all have spent lots of time in the bathroom.
Can I
Go into the bathroom?
Can I share, like, because you mentioned like the bathroom thing, can I share like a minor social faux pas that I had this weekend? And then like,
yes.
I don't think anyone else realized. So I was at the bridal shower and I was like waiting to ask like a wait staff of like where the bathroom is. And I eventually went up to someone who is femme presenting and everything and had a black button down and asked them where the bathroom is, and they didn't know where it is. And I was like, oh shit, I just asked a queer person that looked like a queer, because like it was like that, like it was like a button down like black outfit that I was like, oh, like they're part of the wait staff, because the wait staff was in like button down black outfits. And I was like, oh, I f***ed up. And I was like, they didn't realize that I thought they were like wait staff. But I was like, wow, that was not my brightest
It's like
moment.
asking a person who's wearing a red t-shirt in Target.
At Target, yeah. Same energy.
Oh, and then another story that I thought was somewhat relevant was, so I did have a bridal shower. I didn't want one for pretty much all the same reasons Amanda just mentioned. And then last minute, I kind of decided like, oh, I was looking at pictures of my mom's bridal shower and like, I'm not going to have that. And I don't know. So like I did eventually have one, and I'm very glad I had one. But I didn't want gifts. Like I did not want to give in gifts. I didn't want to open them in front of people. Like absolutely not. So I asked for no gifts. So my mom instead asked everyone to bring a memory. And we went around the circle and everyone gave a memory. I was diagnosed with autism maybe like a year and a half to like a year prior, but no one there really knew except for my family and my close friends. But anyway, we were going around the circle and everyone was telling a little story about me. And it was very cute and very lovely, and honestly highly recommend this if you don't want gifts. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, these are such like obvious, like just from listening to these stories of me as a child, I'm like, how did we miss this? And everyone's sitting around telling these stories and I'm like, we still haven't figured it out yet? Okay, cool. They'll figure it out eventually.
No, they won't. Not unless you tell them.
They won't till they listen to this podcast and they're like, oh, damn.
Right.
Oh, damn.
I think for me, a lot of it goes back to what we were saying earlier with your conversation with your therapist of like, just that acceptance has made these things a lot easier. And like, the more I act like myself and do the things that help myself, like maybe not being aware of people is good too, because like maybe I do look really weird. I don't know, but I feel fine now, and I'm not thinking about like, do I look weird? What's wrong with me? Sometimes I am like, I have to sit with my legs crossed. It makes me feel better. Like it grounds me. I'm getting more, like from an OT perspective, like I'm getting more proprioceptive input into my legs, and like I need that input to like feel somewhere. And like, I don't care that I was sitting in a dress and I'm at a fancy restaurant. I'm gonna sit with my legs crossed. I had a long dress, like my vag wasn't out, but like
I would hope not, Crystal. I also like in the scenario, like you're not wearing underwear. Like I would.
That's true. But I'm gonna sit with my legs crossed. And I did have a moment of like, I can't do this. And then I was like, yes, I can. I'm a grown up. nobody can tell me I can't. I often, this one, like, maybe, like, but I guess you can too. I will often sit on the floor at places. I find myself way more comfortable. I did it at Amanda's partner's 30th birthday, and there was a moment I was like, people might think I'm weird, but I don't care. It's a little quieter down here. There's so much noise. There was music going. It wasn't even like there was a lot of people, but it was loud for me. And there were moments of like, I'm like, I need to take a break. I went upstairs and like hung out by myself for a while, and I always have that moment of like, I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm like, I need to. I can at social events, I can often be found on the floor with either the animal or the children that are there. Like, I just
if you ever get lost,
prefer.
that's where I'll check.
Yeah. I just prefer. I felt like a god a little bit yesterday at the party, because I was like sitting at a table and like this 2-year-old like showed me his cars, and I was like, and then he like got closer, and then I got up and like got down to the floor, and the dad was like, oh no, sorry. And I was like, it's fine. And then and then the other kids started coming over, and then I had like 3 or 4 kids, and we were playing cars, and it was great. And then I came back to the table, and I was like, to my partner, I was like, I'm sorry. And he was like, why are you sorry? You do this at every party. And I was like, okay, yeah. But I didn't burn out, and I felt good.
Something that I do now at social events, what I tell myself, and this is incredibly cliche, but once I started actually believing it, I learned why it was a cliche, is just be yourself and do what's comfortable for you. And if someone doesn't like it, that's their problem. And also maybe they weren't like the best friend to begin with. Like maybe they weren't really your friend.
What's this Dr. Seuss quote? That's like
it's not a Dr. Seuss quote. It's just a Sydney quote that I.
No,
is there a real quote?
The one that like those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter.
Oh,
it's Dr.
I don't know.
Seuss, right?
I don't know if it's Dr. Seuss. I just know it in general. I was thinking that the whole time that like Sid was talking.
Oh, I didn't know it was a quote. I just like I feel like I've always been told like just be yourself. Well, that person's right. But yeah, that's what I tell myself. And even at my wedding, I tried really hard to just like have fun. And I'm pretty sure I made a fool of myself in front of my in-laws side of the family.
It doesn't matter.
But they could tell that I was happy. And because they're good people, that's all they cared about. And if people don't like you for the way you're acting or the way you're sitting or what you're doing, or if you're like hiding in the corner or if you're wearing earplugs, like that's their problem and they need to deal with that. It's not affecting them. Like, and if it is, then they should talk to you about it. But like, it's usually not affecting them. So therefore it is a them problem.
For sure. I think also like people care about other people a lot less than we think that they do.
Oh, yeah.
We are all thinking about ourselves. Like at most moments we're thinking, how do I look in terms of like most people, that other person isn't really caring about how you look. They're thinking about how they look and how they are being judged. And like everyone's kind of in their own head to some degree. It is a Dr. Seuss quote.
Well.
No, it's I didn't mean to take it away from you, Sydney.
No, it's okay. I paraphrased it.
You did. It's like we'll do it like the Michael Scott, like Dr. Seuss and Sydney Agona.
Be yourself, and if anyone else doesn't like it, that's their problem. Sydney Agona, Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it just goes back to like practicing that authenticity. I feel like I really don't think I mask much anymore. I may try to conceal the way that I am accommodating myself, if that makes sense. Like maybe if I'm at an event like this, like I'm still going to use a fidget, but like maybe I will have it under the table. So like I'm not drawing attention to it, but I'm still going to accommodate myself.
Yeah, I've found some fidgets that are really good incognito fidgets. Like I have these scrunchies that have like beads in them and they're different textures, but it just looks like a scrunchie. Like no one knows what that is.
I mean, before I knew, like I will always fidget with like a paper straw wrapper. Like, how many people are sitting there, like, rolling that up? A lot of people. They're just, you know, maybe
The amount of times I have
it.
taken a fidget out at work and people are like, what's that? And I'm like, it's a fidget toy. And they're like, oh, I fidget. I'm like, you should try it. And I don't need a toy. And I'm like, try it anyway. And then they like it. Like,
I never call them toys. Because I think that could, like, deter people. I just say fidgets. Because I think calling it a toy can, like, what's that word?
Yeah.
Infantilize it and, like, deter people. But I think that's part of why I would hide things and hide accommodations, is like, I don't want to give the response, right? Like, I don't really want to, again, I don't want to have a conversation with you, even if it's about my fidget. Because it's not a rude thing. Like, oh, what are you using? Like, a lot of times, like, what is that? Why do you have it? And I think my first part is, like, defense, though. And I'm like, it helps me feel calm. Like,
who's asking?
Yeah, I remember that at, like, my first, like, work party for my partner's company. And I was fidgeting. I had a fidget toy. And his boss was like, ooh, what is that? And I love his boss. He's so nice. And I was just like, it's a fidget. Like, why are you judging? Like, are you judging me for using it? Like, in my head, that's how and he's like, oh, that's cool. You know, my girlfriend's son has ADHD. Like, he might, like, use one of those. That might be good. I probably could use one. I like to fidget things. And, like, it wasn't that way. Or, like, there's been so many times, like, wearing earplugs at weddings. Like, I've had people on the dance floor, like, come up to me. Probably are people, like, that I don't know. And they're like, I see you. Like, I got the earplugs too, or like, oh, I should have brought those. Like,
I get that a lot too.
I think kind of to wrap some of those things up and everything is like, I think what's interesting is like, Crystal, you kind of mentioning that defensiveness is like, I think with a lot of these social events with people we don't know, with trying to navigate it, like we might have our preconceived ideas about things, maybe because of our own history and everything, or maybe because we're kind of on high alert trying to understand a social situation that isn't clear and isn't transparent. And I think that can be very difficult. And I think with a lot of the stuff we talked about in general today, like it is hard to navigate situations when you may not have people that you're comfortable with, or may not have even your own comfortability with yourself at that point, or navigating a lot of the obligations with those different things.
Wait, AI actually says that although Dr. Seuss has often contributed it, but it's actually attributed to Bernard Baruch, and I went to Baruch. So I just think that's interesting, but I don't know who we would quote it. So I think it should just be Sydney's now.
Yeah, it's mine.
It's Dr. Seuss, Bernard Baruch, Sydney.
Check that out on our Instagram on Motivational Monday, where we will post Sydney's quote that is definitely not by someone else.
Definitely not plagiarized.
Speaking of our Instagram, and speaking of those different kind of things, some of the ways that we try and share our content, but also share other creators, is we have this segment of our podcast called Sunflower Spotlight. What we kind of talk about in Sunflower Spotlight is just different educators, different influencers, different people that have things that are helpful for folks, either about their own experiences or about different education about autism, ADHD, and neurodiversity. So with the Sunflower Spotlight too, the reason we use the sunflower is it kind of represents something. So Crystal or Sydney, do you mind just talking about like what the sunflower means?
Yeah. So there's an organization called the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower, and the sunflower has become a symbol of hidden disabilities. So a lot of people will wear the sunflower logo on a piece of clothing or an accessory to kind of tell people who work at that place, that airport, that store, wherever you are. Usually it's airports, I think, that you have a hidden disability and that you might need a little extra time or you might need extra assistance. And so we've kind of used that symbolism to name our Sunflower Spotlight to highlight members of our community. Da-da-da-da. If you're listening to this on Spotify, which if you're watching this on YouTube, you can also listen to it on Spotify. If you're listening to it on Spotify, you can also watch it on YouTube. But anyway, if you're listening to it on Spotify, Crystal has a literal crystal ball with a literal real sunflower inside of it. So she happened to already have it. We use it to symbolize the beginning of our sunflower spotlight. So yeah, Crystal has her crystal ball if you can't see it.
For our sunflower spotlight today, we are spotlighting Callie Gerwa. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. I've also seen them referred to online as Callie. So their username in a lot of places is Black Spectrum Scholar. On their description, it says they're ADHD, moderate support needs, agender, so they use they, she, and he. They're an educator, researcher, critic, and they have advocacy rooted in evidence, and they're not looking for medical advice. So what I want to share today from them, they shared this post saying, a lot of people still do not know that I host the largest free autism and ADHD resource library. You do not need to create an account, provide an email, surrender your data, or pay for access. The research and books are there for anyone who needs them. Please share it. This research can save a life. And then they have this video that shows how to actually access it. So if you go on to their link tree and you scroll down to Autism and ADHD resource library. It has a lot of different links there, and I'll kind of like quickly show the resource library because it's really awesome that this is a resource that folks can refer to and check out. So again, you just kind of go to their link tree. Right now it's kind of the top link to Linktree ADHD library. So there's a lot of resources here on anything and everything that you could want to learn about regarding ADHD, autism, all that type of stuff. So there's stuff about assessments, sexuality, burnout, other disorders like BPD. There's stuff about empathy. There's stuff about masking. There's questionnaires, self-harm, theory of mind, all these different resources. So I think this is a really fantastic resource for folks to just learn whatever they want to learn. And again, if you find Callie's stuff very helpful, I definitely recommend that if you have the financial resources to maybe be able to send them a tip, because a lot of these things are not usually super accessible online for free. So I think that's a really great creator. You can follow them on Instagram or on Threads to kind of like see more of the stuff that they have to share.
Well, I know what I'll be doing tonight. That is so cool.
Crystal's like, ooh, a treasure trove.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Really great. Thanks, Amanda.
Yeah, of course.
So thank you guys for sharing your stories about handling social situations. And thanks for being a friend to me.
Friendship.
Just want to leave you off with our weekly quote. Comes from an author, Kat Vellos, who has a book about friendship as well. And the quote is, "I can create the friendships and community that I dream of." And that's what we're doing.
I love that. That's such a that's such a good quote. That's so much better than all
It's
the other ones I've picked out today. That's great. But you know what? It's not better than. It's not better than my quote.
Can you repeat your quote, Sydney?
Oh dear Lord, I'll try.
What was that quote?
That's a great question. Run back the tape. Roll with the transcript. Run back the tape. I think my quote was like, "Just be yourself, and if someone has a problem with it or doesn't like it, that's their problem," or something like that.
Someone has a problem, that's their problem.
That sounds like a you problem. I'm
You don't
awesome.
like me? That's a you problem.
Sounds like a you problem.
It's
rock.
giving that thing of like what you say, like I'm rubber and you're glue. What you say bounces off me and like goes to you.
Sticks to you.
I've never heard that. What?
You never heard the like?
Oh my God,
a millennial thing?
Are we old?
Yeah, I guess so.
It probably is a millennial thing.
Are we old? I'm
we
rubber,
old?
you're glue.
Glue.
Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you.
Wait, that's so good.
I can't believe I've never heard
never
that.
heard-
You should start using that in your professional life.
I should.
Next time your boss says something bad. Well, you know what they say. I'm rubber.
So thanks for watching and listening. If you liked this episode, please like it, subscribe to us. We put out new episodes every Thursday on YouTube and Spotify. We're also on Instagram. We are discovering Divergency in all of those places, so it's pretty easy to find us.
So if you guys have any questions, sunflower recommendations, quotes you'd like to hear us read, please comment. We would love to hear from you.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.